Hello everyone, today I decided to share my Blu-ray, DVD, and 4K collection. The last time I did one of these videos was at the start of the pandemic in 2020. And since then, I've upgraded to 4K Ultra HD and added some movies along the way. Before I continue, feel free to get some drinks, get some snacks, and comment down below. Let me know your favorite films that you own in your own personal physical media collections. Here we go. Starting off the physical media collection is Swamp Thing, the Wes Craven one starring Adrienne Barbeau. I love this remastered edition from MVD Collection, and it also includes the unrated international cut. Not bad. Then we have an underrated DC Universe original with the 2019 Swamp Thing. This is what made me a fan of Swamp Thing. I love this show starring Crystal Reed. Probably my favorite with Swamp Thing on DC Universe is Doom Patrol Season 1. This is one of the best comic book shows out there. I absolutely love this first season. Probably one of my favorite first seasons of a superhero show, along with The Flash and Heroes. Then we have Doom Patrol Season 2. Doom Patrol Season 3, hopefully Season 4 comes out. I may have to make a custom slipcover for that one if they do another MOD release. Then we have Season 1 of Titans. My mom actually got me the first two seasons for $9.99 at the start of the pandemic, and let me say, this is a comfort show. It was a comfort show to me during the pandemic, and it's still a comfort show now. I absolutely enjoy this. Very different, grittier, darker take on the new Titans run from the 80s. Then we have Titans Season 2. I love the Deathstroke stuff in this season. Titans Season 3, probably my favorite season of the show, along with Season 1. I absolutely love seeing Donna Troy return. And yeah, this is from Canada because the US took too long to release there, so this is from Wolverine country. Then we have Titans Season 4, the final season. Now, Warner Brothers were kind of cheap and they didn't put a lot of love into this release. It was just a basic Blu-ray with no episode guide or art on the inside. It was a basic MOD release. I thought it was lazy, so I made my first custom slipcover. You could check out the video in which I made this on the channel. Overall, not bad. I made it match the other ones on the shelf, and yeah. Then we have the highly acclaimed Watchmen. I love this sequel to the graphic novel. Regina King is amazing. Gene Smart, Jeremy Irons, Yael Abdul-Mateen II. Oh man, this is just an awesome show from start to finish. Then we have the Target exclusive of Joker. I absolutely adore this cover. Joaquin Phoenix gives a phenomenal performance. He won an Oscar for. I don't think this film needed a sequel, but I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like at the end of this year. But overall, this is one of the better standalone DC films. Then we have Vengeance with the Batman. I absolutely enjoyed this film with Robert Pattinson. This surprised me, and this was a Walmart exclusive that came with a long box and a metal tin. Moving towards Batman, we have Batman the Animated Series. Now, I've upgraded to Blu-ray since my last video. Oh, I really enjoy seeing all the episodes from the original run, Adventures of Batman and Robin, New Adventures, and then the two movies with Sub-Zero and Mask of the Phantasm. Then we have Batman Beyond, which includes all three seasons of the show with Terry McGinnis, and Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. Superman, the Animated Series, underrated show starring Tim Daly that's in the DC Animated Universe. Going to the DCEU is Man of Steel. I've watched this Blu-ray from 2013 so many times. I love this film. It's epic. BVS Ultimate Edition, another film that I highly enjoy, especially for the Wonder Woman scene. It's crazy to see, but we have an actual physical copy of the Snyder Cut since my last video. Yes, I love having Zack Snyder's Justice League on Blu-ray. I have watched this movie so many times. Oh my god. I love this movie. I freaking love this movie. Then we have Wonder Woman, directed by Patty Jenkins, the first one. Love this. Great origin tale that's up there with Christopher Reeve's Superman. Then we have this Target exclusive of Wonder Woman 84. I like this cover, and while it's not as good as the first one, it's still enjoyable in its own right. Pedro Pascal and Kristen Wiig make the film. Life is good, but it can be better. Here we have the first Aquaman film. I don't know how the sequel's going to be, but I really enjoyed this first film. Then we have Blue Beetle, probably one of my favorite comic book films of 2023, along with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Across the Spider-Verse. I like seeing Xolo Maridueña as Jaime Reyes. Then we have Black Adam. It was so great after so many years seeing The Rock finally play this character. While it has its high moments, a lot of the potential is kind of squandered with recent events in DC. Then we have Shazam. I love this lenticular cover. Really solid original origin film. Just basically like Big if it was a superhero film. Shazam, Fury of the Gods. This one I didn't enjoy as much as the first, but it has its moments. Then we have a Target exclusive of Birds of Prey. Now, I actually got Birds of Prey early on digital during the pandemic, and this was like around May, April, May, during the first year of the pandemic, and I enjoyed this with this comic book cover. Then we have a Walmart lenticular of the Suicide Squad. King Shark there, yeah. Here's a Target Digibook lenticular edition of Suicide Squad my mom and aunt found for me one Christmas, and it's pretty solid. I like this because it has the discs, and then there's like this little art book inside. It has like all this art and like photographs from the film. Love to see the Ayer cut one day. Then we have a Digibook lenticular of Justice League. I actually only got this film because of the cover, but what can I say? It's not bad having the Snyder cut and the theatrical to show you how and how not to make a film, but overall it has some neat artwork, stuff that was actually in the Zack Snyder's version. But yeah, how not to make a Justice League film. Then we have the Target exclusive of The Flash that came with some lobby cards. Overall, this film could have been so much more, I thought. You could tell there's a lot of interference from the studio, but I actually enjoyed this mainly because of Ben Affleck's Batman and Michael Keaton's return as the Caped Crusader. Speaking of Michael Keaton, we have the Batman Anthology. This was one of the first Blu-ray sets I ever bought when I was in high school. This and Godfather trilogy. I love this because it includes all 4 of the original films. So we have Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and then Batman and Robin. Switching over to Marvel, we have the first X-Men Icon Edition. I love this first movie. Then one of my favorite X-Men films, X2 X-Men United with Nightcrawler. We have an Icon Edition of X-Men The Last Stand featuring Storm. Magneto edition of X-Men First Class, but no worries, Charles Xavier is on the back. Another one of my favorite X-Men films is X-Men Days of Future Past. An underrated X-Men film, X-Men Apocalypse. Then we have X-Men Dark Phoenix. X-Men Origins Wolverine, The Wolverine. Another favorite is Logan, probably the best superhero film post Dark Knight. I absolutely love this film. Then we have Deadpool, the first one. After that, into the MCU, we have Avengers 4 movie collection that has all 4 Avengers films in the MCU. Love the slim packaging here. Iron Man trilogy, Captain America trilogy. Then we have Shang-Chi, one of my favorite MCU films and favorite superhero films of 2021. I hope this gets a sequel very soon. Underrated. After that, we have a double pack of The Incredible Hulk and 2003 Hulk starring Eric Bana. Then we have the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man films in a double feature. Then we have Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy starring Tobey Maguire. And then finally Tom Holland's trilogy with Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. Great culmination of all the Spider-Mans on film. Stepping more into the horror genre, we have the 2013 Evil Dead remake from Fede Alvarez, underrated and gory. Sam Raimi's first 2 Evil Dead films in a double feature. The Screwhead edition of Army of Darkness. Underrated but hilariously gory Ash vs. Evil Dead, the complete series. Then we have Evil Dead Rise. Grindhouse featuring Planet Terror and Death Proof from Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino. From Dusk Till Dawn trilogy with the documentary Full Tilt Boogie. Then one of my favorites, From Dusk Till Dawn Season 1. From Dusk Till Dawn Season 2. And the 3rd and final season of From Dusk Till Dawn. More vampiric action with Interview with a Vampire, one of my all-time favorite vampire films. Queen of the Damned. A double feature of The Shining and Dr. Sleep, a double feature of It Chapter 1 and 2 from Andy Muschietti, and Stephen King's It, the miniseries starring Tim Curry as Pennywise. Next up, we have a double feature of Train to Busan and Peninsula, a deeply emotional film, a feel-good B action flick. Resident Evil Infinite Darkness from Netflix. 3 Resident Evil CG films with Vendetta, Damnation, and Degeneration. Resident Evil Death Island. Resident Evil 6 film collection. These are the Paul W.S. Anderson films starring Mila Jovovich. I like these for what they are. Underworld 5 film collection with Kate Beckinsale. Fright Night on Blu-ray. 3 film collection of The Lost Boys, the original classic, as well as The Tribe and The Thirst. The Thirst still has to be one of the best straight-to-video films I've seen in my life. Next up, we have The Purge, starring Ethan Hawke. The Purge Anarchy, my personal favorite. The Purge Election Year. I don't have the first Purge, even though I enjoy the film, but I have the Forever Purge after those. Very underrated film. Halloween 2018, or what many people refer to as Halloween H40. Halloween Kills. Then we have a 4K of Halloween Ends. This has Laurie Strode and Michael. Jamie Lee Curtis is on the cover. It's a Walmart exclusive that has both of them facing off. Love this cover. Halloween H2O on Blu-ray. Then we have a 4K of Halloween. And it's the regular slipcover, not the cardboard case, but an excellent transfer from Scream Factory. Then we have an older Blu-ray of Halloween 2. A very underrated sequel. I still love this film. Going more to John Carpenter, we have Escape from New York, Escape from LA, Big Trouble in Little China, John Carpenter's A Thing, a 4K of They Live, 4K of The Fog, 4K of Prince of Darkness, an extremely underrated film from John Carpenter's filmography. John Carpenter's Vampires. We have a 4K edition of The Craft. I enjoy seeing this film every Halloween. Next up is a trilogy edition of the Conjuring films. Not bad. Then I upgraded my DVDs to a Blu-ray edition of Nightmare on Elm Street. All 7 of the original films, from the original Wes Craven all the way to Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Moving out of there to more sci-fi, we have The Scanner Darkly from Richard Linklater, underrated film and a wonderful Philip K. Dick adaptation. Then we have Blade Runner, and this edition I found at a church garage sale for $5. It includes different versions of the film, the theatrical, the director's cut, the final cut, the international cut, and the work print edition. And as you can see here, it has all the discs of the different editions. Overall, not a bad set. I'm glad I found this for $5. Next up, we have Denis Villeneuve's wonderful underrated sequel of Blade Runner 2049, a film that I actually think I enjoy more than the original at times. Another Philip K. Dick adaptation is Total Recall. Classic Arnold Schwarzenegger film. Then we have Predator.
What you waiting for? I'm right here. Come on, do it. Come on.
And then I upgraded Die Hard to this Die Hard multi-screen edition. This is Disney's run, but I wanted it after Bruce Willis retired. I wanted all 5 films, and this includes the unrated version of Live Free or Die Hard that was on the DVD. Next up, we have one of my all-time favorite films, Drive, directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, starring Ryan Gosling. I love this film, yeah. Oh, such an amazing film, and it's about a real hero, a real human being, and this film makes me want to go out and drive at night while listening to Kavinsky. Then we have American Psycho, unrated edition that has an NC-17 version. Say, do you like Huey Lewis in the News? Changing it up a bit, we have the Criterion Collection of the Before trilogy, one of my all-time favorite trilogies by Richard Linklater. Besides a booklet, it includes Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. Love Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy in these films. Another Richard Linklater classic that I absolutely adore is Boyhood. This film, man, it's life itself. Going to more Patricia Arquette but Quentin Tarantino is True Romance, written by Tarantino and directed by Tony Scott. This is the Arrow video edition. I found this pre-owned, not bad. And it includes a production booklet as well as a fold-up poster and a steelbook that has Alabama, Christian Slater's character there, so yeah, with some lobby cards. Next up, we have Reservoir Dogs, a lovely, lovely transfer. I just wish I had all the extras of the DVD. Then we have Pulp Fiction, wonderful release from Paramount that ported over all the extras while giving us a good picture. And I actually used to have the DVD and I sold it, but I kept the Jackrabbit Slims menu, so yeah, I decided to keep that. That was on the old 10-year anniversary DVD. I kept it with my 4K. Next up with Tarantino on 4K, we have Inglourious Bastards. This film ages like a fine wine, and what can I say? I love seeing Brad Pitt and company kill some Nazis. Next up, we have Kino Lorber's transfer of Tropic Thunder that includes the theatrical and director's cut. I love this Ben Stiller comedy. I couldn't believe this film got made in 2008. I don't think it can get made now. Another Ben Stiller classic that I actually was an early adopter of and saw in the theaters with my mom was Mystery Men. I love this film. This film was way ahead of its time before cosplay and Comic-Con culture became popular. Like, oh, awesome movie. All-Star by Smash Mouth. Always think of this film. Next up with Kino Lorber is Serpico, starring Al Pacino. Al Pacino, yeah. Underrated film. Next up, I sold the first 2 Creeds and upgraded to the Creed triple pack that has all 3 films of the Creed trilogy. That goes with the Rocky Undisputed collection that has the original films with Rocky Balboa. Then we have the RoboCop trilogy. I love these films, even the third one. Next up, I upgraded to the Terminator films on Blu-ray, so I have the Terminator here. Terminator 2 Skynet edition still looks better than the new 4K. Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. Terminator Salvation, one of the earliest Blu-rays I ever got. I love the director's cut here and all the special features. Best Buy edition of Terminator Genesis, you know, back when they had physical media. I love this with Arnold. And then we have Terminator Dark Fate. The best part about this movie, I remember, is winning a trip from a Ruffles sweepstakes and my father and I going to visit Paramount and the premiere before it was canceled by a California fire. Overall, I always cherish those memories over the film itself, really. Next up, we have one of my all-time favorite films that inspired me to become a filmmaker, and that is a 4K of Saturday Night Fever. Could have had a better transfer, but Dolby Vision does take it up a notch or two, and includes a Blu-ray of the director's cut. What got a better transfer was his sequel from Kino Lorber, Staying Alive. I love having both films on this format, and Blu-ray, oh, look out for number 1. Then we have the Blu-ray of Urban Cowboy. Notice that he's not holding a beer bottle here, it's photoshopped out, but I enjoy this film as a Texan. Gotta love this. Next up, we have a 4K edition of Young Guns. Probably the best this film has looked, and the Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos gives it an extra push, let me tell you. Oh man. Regulators, mount up. Another one of my favorite films of all time that got a wonderful transfer is Real Genius on 4K from Sony. And yeah, inside is the cover, the original cover with Albert Einstein and Chris Knight. Underrated Val Kilmer film. It's the reason why Everybody Wants to Rule the World is my favorite song of all time. Going on 4Ks, these are actually the first 4Ks I got. I won them on a sweepstakes, and that is Mission Impossible, the first 5 on 4K. I won these, and I barely got to watch them last year. Mission Impossible 2, MI3, Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation. Syndicate is a rogue nation, trained to do what we do. Mission Impossible Fallout, and then we have a 4K of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Top Gun 1 and 2 on 4K. Love these films. I feel the need for speed. Then we have a Target exclusive of Oblivion here. Lenticular cover. Live, Die, Repeat, aka Edge of Tomorrow. Rock of Ages. Yes, love this film, including the extended edition. Collateral. Chumbi Chiba, go. I love the nightclub shootout. Minority Report. First Jack Reacher. Next up, we have a manufacturer-on-demand release from Lionsgate with Abre los Ojos, aka Open Your Eyes. This is what the Tom Cruise film Vanilla Sky was based on. Yeah, Penelope Cruz is in both. Then we have the Warner Brothers Paramount edition of Vanilla Sky that includes the alternate ending. Highly underrated Last Samurai. Going more with Warner Brothers, we have Michael Mann's Heat. I love this film. Pacino and De Niro share the screen face-to-face for the first time. Ben Affleck's The Town. This is the last movie I got at Hastings before they closed. This includes the extended cut. For once, I kind of like the theatrical edition better, actually, but great cast. And if you like The Departed and Heat, this movie's for you. Underrated film, Swordfish with John Travolta, Halle Berry, and Hugh Jackman. Very reminiscent of the Matrix era. Going with superheroes, we have Superman, the movie. This is one of the first Blu-rays I got at Best Buy after I got a Blu-ray player. Then we have Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. Before the Snyder Cut, we had the Richard Donner cut. Then we have Superman Returns on Blu-ray. I would have loved to see more of Brandon Routh's Superman on the silver screen. Then we have V for Vendetta. Remember the 5th of November. Going with more Batman and DC again, we have Justice League Doom. Wonderful story by Dwayne McDuffie. Steelbook of Batman, The Dark Knight Returns. I got this at Resurrected Games in Austin when I went to UT. Love this. This was actually, I think, a Target edition that they sold there with lobby cards. Pretty cool. Another Target edition is Batman the Killing Joke. I bought this blind. Hate the first 30 minutes of this movie, but love the stuff that's actually based on the Alan Moore graphic novel. One of my favorite animated films from Batman is Batman Under the Red Hood. Jensen Ackles as the Red Hood and Bruce Greenwood as Bruce Wayne Batman. Underrated. Then we have Batman the movie from the 60s with Adam West. Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders. And then Batman vs. Two-Face. A hell of a way for Adam West to go out. Wonderful finale with William Shatner as Harvey Two-Face. Going with Adam West Batman, we have the complete series of Batman from the 60s. It includes an episode guide booklet as well as each season of the show. Next up, one of my favorite sets in the collection is the Dark Knight trilogy. This was from Best Buy. My mom got it for me at the end of my first semester in Austin. I came back home, and this was just great. I love this. I love this trilogy. Next up, I upgraded the Smallville DVDs to Blu-ray for the 20th anniversary. Always hold on to Smallville. Yeah, it includes all of them, and I love how instead of having those giant clamshell cases, they have each individual case. So, yeah. It's just like the Warner Brothers editions, but with just a slim case. I wish they kept the yearbook episode guides, but hey, I can't complain too much. We get Smallville in high definition on Blu-ray, and I never thought there'd be a day where all 10 seasons would be together on Blu-ray. If I had to pick my favorites, it'd be 3, 5, and 9, with like 2 right behind it. They have Lois and Clark. Season 9, I love that black suit. And then the final season. Next up is a series I found for a great deal on eBay. Much cheaper than the actual complete series with a giant clamshell case. I found each individual season and a set on sale for Arrow. So here's season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4, season 5. Probably my personal favorite was season 2 here. Season 6, season 7, and the 8th and final season that includes Crisis on Infinite Earths. I'm glad I got a good deal on eBay for these complete sets here in pristine condition. I pretty much made an offer and told him, hey, I wouldn't mind having this in the DC collection. It was a steal. So I'm Happy to have him. You have failed this city. Welcome to Jurassic Park. This stayed a trilogy for me with the Ultimate Collection. I didn't bother getting Jurassic World or any of the others at all. This includes the original 2 by Steven Spielberg and the Joe Johnston ones, so Jurassic Park, Lost World, and Jurassic Park 3. Then we have the Bourne Ultimate Collection that includes the Bourne Identity trilogy with Jason Bourne and the Bourne Legacy. Love the Matt Damon ones. Next up is the Lord of the Rings Extended Edition Blu-ray set. I love this binding here. It's like the golden ticket from Willy Wonka. Inside it has a map for Middle Earth and the characters. And inside we have Fellowship of the Ring, we have Two Towers, and then we have Return of the King. Going more sci-fi, we have Prometheus, Alien Covenant. Then one of my favorites is the Alien Anthology Collection that has Mother Mode. I love the 20th Century Fox set here with a cardboard case. Oh, back when they made stuff with quality. Then we have the Complete Adventures of Indiana Jones. I don't think I'm going to add Dial of Destiny. It ended with Last Crusade and Crystal Skulls and Epilogue. Star Wars, The Complete Saga. I'm just counting the George Lucas ones. Great set. Outside The Mandalorian, I think the best thing to come out of Disney Star Wars is Rogue One. Wonderful film by Gareth Edwards. Next up, we have Godzilla 1998. This film is a guilty pleasure of mine. My brother took me to the theater to see this. I love this film. Great soundtrack. Another Roland Emmerich film is Independence Day. I'm not counting the sequel. There's only one. Another film that turns 30 years old this year is Speed. Pop quiz. You have a hair trigger aimed at your head. What do you do? What do you do? Love Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock in this. Next up for Fox is Donnie Darko, which includes a theatrical and director's cut version. Love the differences. Jake Gyllenhaal is weird. Great 80s music. What more can you ask for? Planet of the Apes. The original Planet of the Apes films with the originals, all the way from Planet of the Apes 68 to Battle for the Planet of the Apes. So, yeah, I love this set. And then who could forget the Caesar trilogy? Wonderful trilogy, modern day trilogy with Andy Serkis as Caesar. Caesar Ape. Next up for Star Trek, we have Star Trek, the Picard Legacy Collection. I love this. Just a new edition. You can check out the full unboxing on my channel, but oh man, it's great having all the Next Generation films with the Next Generation series and Picard, the complete series with over 35 hours of bonus features. What more can a fan ask for? Next up is a gift that Paramount sent me back in 2016, and that is Star Trek Compendium Collection that includes 09 and Into Darkness with the IMAX scenes. I was lucky enough to receive this from Paramount. And then we have Star Trek Beyond. I can't wait for another Chris Pine film if it ever gets made, but this is not a bad way to go out. Underrated Trek film. And then when Into Darkness came out, I found Star Trek, the Stardate Collection for a great price that had all of the original films with William Shatner and the 4 Next Generation films in a set. I know these are on 4K, but I like this set and I'm happy with what I have here. Speaking of Best Buy memories, I remember my mom and I went to go get this when it came out, and that is a Harry Potter 8-film collection, basically all the way to Deathly Hallows. I love all the films in one little nice case. Speaking of Emma Watson and book adaptations, we have the wonderfully underrated Perks of Being a Wallflower. This movie, it just speaks to me on so many levels. Oh man, let me tell you, moving to a small town in middle school and being alone, I felt like Charlie in this film, and this film just spoke to me on so many levels. This film makes you feel infinite. And what perfect song for a tunnel song than Heroes by David Bowie. Another underrated film is About Time. Great rom-com and drama. The scene with him and his father just kills me in the middle. This is my movie, and this is my life with The Disaster Artist, the movie about the making of The Room. I love the Franco brothers in this film. Yeah, it's a funny film. Then we have Alita Battle Angel. I hope we get a sequel soon. Oh man, of all the movies I have in my collection that don't have sequels, this one needs one. Wonderful work from James Cameron and Robert Rodriguez. And Rosa Salazar as Alita. We have a Target edition of Ready Player One lenticular here. Yeah. I love the book, but this is good in its own way too. Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. It's kind of crazy how the modern graphics match the graphics of this movie, but I love this movie. One Winged Angel. Speaking of video game movies, we have the original Mortal Kombat. I love this film. I don't care how cheesy it is, how dated it feels. I absolutely love this film and its soundtrack. Still a kick-ass movie, one of the best video game adaptations. I am the chosen one. All right, let's dance. Next up, we have Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Destroy all expectations, which means destroy all expectations of this movie being as good as the original. Next up, we have Alicia Vikander's Tomb Raider. Very short, kind of condensed version of the 2013 remake, but I liked it for what it was, and I would have loved to see her more in the role. And then who could forget the original two Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider films? guilty pleasures that are still a lot of fun today. Next up, there's more than meets the eye with Transformers 5-movie collection, all the Michael Bay films. Then we have my personal favorite live-action Transformers film with Bumblebee, Rise of the Beasts, G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, G.I. Joe Retaliation. Going with Leo DiCaprio, we have Gangs of New York, wonderful Martin Scorsese film. Titanic, I may or may not upgrade to the 4K later on. The Revenant, wonderful film from Alejandro Inarritu. Then we have Birdman. And then an underrated film I feel still is Bad Times at the El Royale. I love this movie. Hush by Deep Purple. American Hustle. Then we have B.A.B.Y. Baby Driver. This film's kind of cursed, I think. Next up, we have one of my favorite films of all time, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I may or may not upgrade this to 4K, but this is a worthy upgrade because before this, I had it on VHS. The Jack Ryan 5-film collection. The Saint, underrated Val Kilmer, Elizabeth Shue film. Gladiator, Are You Not Entertained? Then we have Small Soldiers. All in all, it's just a toy. Anchorman, Legend of Ron Burgundy. Found this at Big Lots. Great comedy. And then this was a gift from Paramount when I visit the studio. They sent me a duffel bag full of movies, and one of them was Grease here. Going with Christopher Nolan, we have The Prestige, Walmart Icon edition of Interstellar. Love the magnetic cases here. It came with an IMAX film cell as well. We have Inception with this lenticular cover, Dunkirk, Tenet, and then on 4K with John David Washington, we have The Creator, wonderful film from Gareth Edwards. One of my favorite sci-fi films of 2023. Then we have Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon on Blu-ray, The Mask of Zorro, In the Heights, The Birds, Psycho, The Shadow, underrated film that turns 30 years old, and another great comic book film that turns 30 is Brandon Lee and The Crow. I love The Crow. It can't rain all the time. And then speaking of Best Buy memories, the first time I went shopping on Black Friday with my parents, I found these for $4 at Best Buy, and that is The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. Two classic films from my childhood, and I cherish these always. Next up with Fox, we have an underrated romantic film with Keanu Reeves called A Walk in the Clouds, one of my all-time favorites with Anthony Quinn as well. I found this at half prices, like fill the bag for 20 bucks sells, and that is Australia. Baz Luhrmann, known as Fairway Downs now on Hulu. Secret Life of Walter Mitty, not a bad film I found for $1 at Dollar Tree. In the Heights was also from Dollar Tree. Next up we have Kingdom of Heaven, Director's Cut. The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. I love Heath Ledger's last film from Terry Gilliam, Jude Law, Colin Farrell, and Johnny Depp. Tombstone. I was hoping this get upgraded to 4K, but if not, I love this film. I'll be your Huckleberry. Next up we have The Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, and then Inferno. I love all three of these films. I think Da Vinci Code is still probably my favorite though. Then we have the Ghostbusters trilogy that has the first two films and Afterlife. Love Afterlife. Can't wait to see Frozen Empire. Then we have the Austin Powers trilogy. Next up we have a Walmart edition of the Eastrail 177 trilogy that has Unbreakable, Split, and Glass. Then we have the Rush Hour trilogy. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Love this, with Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. Then we have the Beverly Hills Cop trilogy, and I'm hoping to make it a quadrilogy once I add Axel Foley to it. Speaking of a trilogy turning to quadrilogy soon, we have the Bad Boys trilogy. Love all three of these. Bad Boys for Life is my favorite. Speaking of Will Smith, next up we have Men in Black. Probably the last great deal I got on Black Friday. It was horrible this year, and before COVID in 2019, I got three of these films, this set, for just $5. For crime films, we have Gangster Squad. Love Sean Penn as a villain in this. Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone are always great together. Then we have Public Enemies from Michael Mann, Johnny Depp, and Christian Bale. Speaking of Michael Mann, let's get ready to take it to the limit one more time with Miami Vice. This was a Walmart Steelbook edition. I love this. It includes the theatrical and unrated director's edition, but I love the extended edition. Extended edition I think is a superior film, and it's not the series, but it's quite underrated, and who can forget the soundtrack? Love this movie. What's even better than the movie, though, is the TV series, Miami Vice. This is from Mill Creek Entertainment, and I wish all of them got a proper HD transfer like the pilot and they had bonus features like some of the DVDs, but overall, this isn't bad for any Miami Vice fan. I just wish that if they put the budget and put out on 4K or even a 4K remastered Blu-ray, I think it would look amazing. Shot on film, but it's season 1, season 2. I think the first 2 seasons are probably my favorite. 3, but 4 tries to get back to Vice despite some falls. 4, and of course 5. Going with crime television, we have Boardwalk Empire Season 1. Love this HBO show, so underrated. Boardwalk Empire Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, and of course the 5th and final season. Going with Disney films, we have the Toy Story trilogy. Yes, it's going to remain a trilogy for me. Love this. It's like a toy box collection. Another wonderful buy at Best Buy. I'm going to miss the days of physical media there, let me tell you. Probably the last live-action Disney film I enjoyed was Tron Legacy. Wonderful film from Joseph Kosinski, who later did Oblivion and Top Gun Maverick. The Lion King, another film that turns 30 years old. Love this, classic. And then one of my all-time faves is Beauty and the Beast. Going more with my childhood is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. Power Rangers 2017. Then we have the original 3 Ninja Turtles movies. The Addams Family and Addams Family Values. Ted. Flight with Denzel Washington. Knowing with Nicolas Cage. The Expendables. The Expendables 2. The Expendables 3. Highlander 2. The Renegade version. Charlie's Angels. There's Something About Mary. Kingpin. Fighting with My Family. Straight Outta Compton, Hacksaw Ridge, Mad Max, The Road Warrior. These films inspired me to become a filmmaker, but The Road Warrior was the first movie I got on Blu-ray. Still a threat to the eye after all these years. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. We don't need another hero. Unless it's Tom Hardy as Mad Max and Furiosa, then yes we do. Fury Road. And this Target edition, I believe, includes a prequel comic that shows what happened to the V8 Interceptor before the film. Oh, and also Play the Game. It's underrated. Then we have Braveheart, The Patriot, Passion of the Christ, Daddy's Home 2, and then Zoolander 2 is given to me by Paramount. I wish I got the copy of the first one with it, but that's okay. More from Paramount was Florence Foster Jenkins, Sherlock Gnomes, Baywatch, Office Christmas Party, and Wonder Park. Then I have this Canadian version of The Karate Kid on DVD that has all 5 films. I've been meaning to upgrade this to Blu-ray, maybe finding it on eBay, but if anybody has some copies in pristine condition with the slipcovers, let me know or send it my way. But Terminator, Sarah Connor Chronicles Seasons 1 and Seasons 2. Underrated show. Short-lived. Then we have Cowboys and Aliens, Spectre, No Time to Die, and Skyfall is also included with Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, and all the other Bond films in the Bond 50 collection. Then we have a 7-film collection of The Fast and Furious. An early unboxing I did on the channel with this tire. Yeah, I stopped after Paul Walker. Like, the other ones are just unnecessary. Then one of my favorite films is the anniversary edition of Casablanca here. There can be only one on 4K with Highlander, one of my all-time favorite films. The inside includes some of these art cards in the edition of Highlander. Then I've crossed oceans of time to find you with Bram Stoker's Dracula Steelbook from Francis Ford Coppola. Love this movie. And speaking of 4K transfers, there's some films you have to have on every format. One of those is the Godfather trilogy. Love what they did here. It includes all 3 films, but it not only includes The Godfather Part 2, but outside of 3, it includes the new edited version of The Godfather Coda, Death of Michael Corleone. Love this film. And it's great for the 50th anniversary that Paramount ported over all the extras from the DVD and previous Blu-ray sets. Next up, when I felt sorry for myself and got a 4K player, I got the Matrix Deja Vu collection. I found that I didn't have the extras, so I sold it back. So technically, the Matrix films are the first 4K I got, and this is one of them with the Matrix trilogy. That same day, I guess this would also be among my first 4Ks, and that's The Matrix Resurrection. I got all 4 films. I mean, you got to test out Star Wars, Godfather, and Matrix on every format. You just got to, and this was a perfect way to jump into 4K. I wasn't blown away like I was from DVD to Blu-ray, but still, when you have the proper setup, this packs a punch. Going more to Keanu Reeves, we have John Wick Chapter 2, John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, and John Wick Chapter 4. Strike hard, strike first, and no mercy. That's right, a new Cobra Kai is in town, and my mom got this for me 2019. It came with the headband on Cobra Kai Miyagi-Do, but it's the complete first and second season of Cobra Kai that was originally on YouTube and then on Netflix. Then we have Cobra Kai Season 3, one of my all-time favorites. Terry Silver joins the mix with Cobra Kai Season 4, and then we have Cobra Kai Season 5. Cannot wait to see the final season. And then being a Karate Kid fan, I had to upgrade to the Karate Kid trilogy on 4K. I hope next Karate Kid joins it, but I love this box set and how it includes the original theater artwork, like the VHSs of the film when I grew up watching them and renting them on Hollywood Video. I love this trilogy, and they get a proper transfer. All 3 films look incredible because, you know, 2 and 3 especially did not receive love on Blu-ray, so I'm kind of glad they gave it some love with this 4K release. Next up is the first DVD I received on Christmas of 2002, and that is the Back to the Future trilogy. Absolutely love this. It's had a lot of wear and tear over the years for being over 20 years old, but I decided to make the jump this past year on Prime Day in 2023, and I got Back to the Future on 4K that includes the Blu-ray, so I have it on almost every format outside of VHS. I just have 2 on VHS, but I love the picture quality here. The DVD still looks well, actually, for its age, but this has some more extras, and I love the Dolby Vision and sound. Then we have the Target exclusive of Stranger Things. Love having this on physical media. I wish we get 3 and 4, but I don't know if it's because the discs are stacked on top of each other. This season started having disc rot. Out of all my years in collecting, this is the only Blu-ray/DVD to suffer from disc rot. It's horrible. I might have to upgrade to the 4K or hope that they have a complete series someday, but I love the VHS cover, and I love the VHS cover of Stranger Things 2. It's just a shame that we haven't had 3 or 4 from Target or even Walmart yet. Going more to the strange and supernatural paranormal, the X-Files 2-film collection. Fight the Future, known as X-Files, a movie back in my day, and I Want to Believe. Meaning I wanted to believe it was a good X-Files film. It's okay. I'm glad we have the event series now. I love the X-Files on DVD. Perhaps I should have got the Blu-rays and upgraded them, but I love the simplicity of these DVD cases. And yeah, I spend a lot of my college money as far as like selling books and stuff to get this at Hastings. Back when it was a complete series in 2010, but overall, it's not bad, and I like this. It's great on the shelf, despite the quality, but there's just something so nostalgic about seeing X-Files in standard definition that just takes me back as a 90s kid, you know? And I love having all the seasons here. And I would highly recommend the comic books, too. They're pretty good, even though continuity does get a little bit spotty with Chris Carter in the writing. But overall, with mythology episodes and standalone episodes, X-Files has always been a hit. And then season 11 is a solid ending. Some more Tarantino on DVD. We have Django Unchained, Kill Bill Volume 1, Kill Bill Volume 2. I hope these come out on 4K soon with Jackie Brown. Underrated film called Lucky Number 11, The Lookout with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, another underrated film. And then we have an underrated David Ayer directed film called Street Kings. Here is season 1 of Scream Queens, hilarious show. And speaking of Scream, we go back to Wes Craven with the Scream 3 film collection. And Scream 4. I hope this comes out on 4K remastered. I'm thinking of getting them, but I want to wait till they have a box set of all of them. Then we have Never Sleep Again documentary about the making of the Elm Street series. Dracula Untold. And then we have a legacy collection of Dracula Bela Lugosi that includes Dracula, the Spanish version of Dracula from 31, Dracula's Daughter, Son of Dracula, House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, and Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. For more vampire films, we have an underrated Jim Carrey film called Once Bitten. Salem's Lot, the version with Rob Lowe. Then we have Insidious, Insidious Chapter 2, Insidious Chapter 3, and Insidious The Last Key. And these films I've found for $15, like $5 each at Dollar General, and this one was $1 at Walmart. I wanted to add the Red Door, but that was 19 bucks on DVD this Black Friday, where the Blu-ray was 11. I don't mind it, but I have a thing about being OCD and having the same on every format, or I have to upgrade them all. But after that, we have an underrated video game adaptation of Silent Hill. Then moving to Wes Craven, we have Red Eye, a great film I found at Big Lots for 88 cents. Then at Half Price Bookstore, I found Cursed Unrated Edition. It's a great song called Feeling Better Now by Collective Soul. Then there's Sweeney Todd, Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Then I should upgrade this, but I have Blade on DVD. This one's starting to look dated. I should upgrade to Blu-ray or 4K. Meanwhile, a DVD that still looks great for its age is this special edition of Blade 2. Love this by Guillermo del Toro. Then we have Blade Trinity that includes the theatrical and extended version. Going more with Marvel, we have one of my favorites, The Punisher with Thomas Jane and John Travolta. This isn't vengeance, this is punishment. Then at Half Price, I actually found the extended version of The Punisher. It's not on any other format besides DVD, so it's kind of cool seeing the storyboard sequences and the extra scenes. Only saw this on FX before. Punisher Warzone. I wish seasons 1 and 3 were out, but I have season 2 of Daredevil on DVD. Then one of my favorites I got as a 12-year-old at Walmart for $12.99. Remember when movies were $12.99 brand new? Daredevil. I love this film. Soundtrack is wonderful too. Daredevil director's cut is even better. Then at Half Price Book, I also found Elektra and decided to add that to the collection because why not? Then here is Hellboy, and it's from Hollywood Video because it used to have the security tab. It's from Hollywood Video in 2004, yeah. I love this film. I was thinking about upgrading to the Steelbook 4K. Going more with comic books, we have Sin City by Robert Rodriguez, Frank Miller Sin City, and then A Dame to Kill For. And then some of my favorites are El Mariachi, Desperado, and then the film that showed me that filmmaking could be a reality on the 10-minute film school, Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Next up for DVD, we have Batman Year One, Superman Batman Public Enemies, Superman Doomsday with this lenticular cover. Then we have Justice League, the complete animated series with the original show and Unlimited. Got this at Hastings, love this in a still book. I never really wanted to upgrade after this. I mean, it's in widescreen, and what more can you ask for? Then we have I Am Legend, which includes the director's cut that's now going to have a sequel after all these years. After that, we have Beetlejuice. Cannot wait to see the sequel this year. I don't think it needed a sequel, but with Tim Burton and Michael Keaton back, I'm excited. Then we have the underrated Troy. Starsky and Hutch. Kind of crazy to think that the director of this and Hangover trilogy did Joker. Then we have 4 classics with the vacation films: Vacation, European Vacation, Christmas, and Vegas. Then another film that turns 30 years old is Reality Bites. One of my favorite rom-coms, Stuck in Love. A film really about writers and love and relationships. Then with Highlander, we have Highlander, The Final Dimension, and Highlander Endgame. I wish these came out on Blu-ray here. One that I hope comes out on 4K is Young Guns 2. Speaking of Emilio, we have Loaded Weapon 1, one of the last movies I got at Hollywood Video before they closed. Then for comedies, we have Stuck on You, Cops and Robertsons, Jumanji. Another film I got at Hollywood Video, Children of Dune, underrated sequel to Dune. Frank Herbert's Dune from Sci-Fi Channel has a young James McAvoy in it. Another gift from Paramount also included a DVD version of The Wolf of Wall Street. Then one of my favorite kind of stupid comedies is A Night of the Roxbury. Then we have Clue, the movie. Wonderful film directed by Jonathan Lynn. Love his work. Then we have The Brothers Grimm. I've always liked this Terry Gilliam film. It's a guilty pleasure. And speaking of an actor I liked, again, before he went all crazy, is Mel Gibson, but you can't deny his performance in these films with The Beaver, directed by Jodie Foster. Payback, always root for the bad guy. This is hard to find the theatrical edition now. I have it on VHS and DVD. And then Bloodfather. Then we have American Gangster, which also includes the extended director's cut. A little bit long, but the ending makes it worth it. Then we have a wonderful comedy with Damon Wayans called Blank Man. Yeah, the scene in Twisted Metal on Peacock really made me smile after watching this growing up on HBO. And then we have Scary Movie. I have Scary Movie 2 on VHS, but I should probably upgrade 2 and 3. But I also have Scary Movie 4 unrated. And then here is Mr. Deeds with Adam Sandler. I also kept in storage DVD versions of Miami Vice, Smallville, Terminators. This one Paramount gave me, an extra copy that wasn't a dual-sided disc. My uncle gave me a gift card, and I enjoyed this from Blockbuster. My aunt got me the Extreme DVD collection, that's Steelbook. Still a wonderful transfer. My mom, on Veterans Day of 2003, got me Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. And then one of my favorites was the Lethal Weapon films. It has a director's cut of the first 3, but the first one started skipping. So besides that and Stranger Things are the only 2 movies that have sadly been taken by age. Anyway, that does it for my physical media collection. Thank you to everyone who's made it this far. I hope you enjoyed this. Feel free down in the comments below to let me know some of your favorite movies that you own in your physical media collections. I hope everyone has a happy new year and stay safe. Feel free to check out these other videos for more content.